Welcome to the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast with your host, Mike Campion. If you are passionate about the cleaning industry, you are in the right place. Love what you hear? Spread the word and tell the cleaning world this is the place to be. Want more? Check out www.growmycleaningcompany.com for free online video trainings, free ebook downloads, free blog posts, and of course, all the podcast episodes. Everything you need to grow your cleaning company is at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. And now, on with the show.
Hello, Cleaning Nation. So glad to be with you guys once again. I love the opportunity to chat with you one-on-one and share with the nation. Remember, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you've got questions for me, if you want to hire me to speak at your next event, all of that goes through our amazing producer, Natalie. You can get a hold of her by calling 480-648-5149. We love hearing from you. Or you can email N-A-T, at growmycleaningcompany.com. Today, we are chatting with Facebook group star Greg Elderkin from Elderkin's Cleaning Services. Elderkin's Cleaning Services has been providing the Smethport, Pennsylvania area with residential cleaning services for just over 2 years. If you want to reach out with Greg, you can get a hold of him at elderkinscleaningservice@gmail.com. Greg, so glad you're here. Say hello to Cleaning Nation.
Hey, Cleaning Nation. My name is Greg Elderkin. Great talking with you guys and great talking with you, Mike.
Glad to have you on, my friend. So I believe you were one of the few people that I actually stalked. I kept seeing you in the Facebook group, not just with the quantity of answers to people's questions and posts, but really good quality. The stuff that you were saying, I think I probably liked your stuff, more than probably anyone else. So tell us, give us the secret to your success, man. I love everything you share in the group. I'd love to have you just give us a couple minutes on how you found us and where you get all that good stuff that you share in the group.
Well, this is going to sound cliche, Mike and Cleaning Nation, but like everybody else, I somehow magically stumbled across one of your videos late one night after a cleaning job. I had come home and I sat down and was looking for some new information to try to digest and implement, and I was looking through some YouTube videos, and your video happened to be on one of the sidebar options, and I clicked on it, and I thought, man, this is really great information. I love it.
Oh, fantastic! So you got hooked through the YouTube channel, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. And then when did you join the Facebook group, and why are you so amazing with? I feel like Greg does my job half the time. It's awesome. I feel like I should have you on the payroll. Give us a little bit about a scoop about where you get all your good information and what propels you to be so kind and generous with sharing with Cleaning Nation.
Okay. Honestly, I don't consider myself successful in the terms that you're conveying, but I feel like I am learning every day, and I'm trying to grow every day by simply saying, what can I do to better my situation by bettering somebody else's situation? And I've listened to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk. I'll name drop there. I've listened to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk podcasts, and I really, really enjoy listening to him because his mantra is punch, 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 jab, 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 punch, right hook. And the deal with that is that Cleaning Nation, if you've listened to Gary Vaynerchuk, is you always want to give more than you're taking. It's the 51% giving, 49% taking. So you want to give just a little bit more than what you're receiving. And I've always tried to keep that as, I remember first starting out and being in a lot of horrible situations that it just made me feel miserable. there's still days that I still get down on myself that, I could have done something a lot better, or I could have done things differently. But I always try to look for people on the Facebook group. I always try to look for people that are having the same problems that I've had and faced, and I'm still working through some of those problems, and basically saying, look, this is what I did, and I did it the wrong way for so long, and I'm trying a new process, and it's working. So why not try this process? And the other thing too is always show how you got your work, how you got your numbers. That's a big concern of mine, is people are always throwing numbers out there, and I feel that it's unfair to the rest of Cleaning Nation, both on the podcast as well as in the Facebook group, that people want to know that, because yes, it's very fluid and dynamic information. It may not apply to them, but at least they have an idea of, hey, these people are doing this and they're getting these kind of numbers, and this is how their numbers function for them. So I'll give that a look-see and see if I can implement that into my own system, and try to move on from there.
Beautiful. Well, I got to say, I've not, I don't think I've said this before on the podcast, but Greg is one of the few guys, and I haven't read every post that he gave, and I'm sure if I did, there'd be something in there I disagreed with. But I got to say, more often than not, this is one of the guys, when I see a post from Greg, A, I read it, and B, I agree with it. And a lot of times I go, well, good. That just saved me having to respond, because Greg just did a great job. So Cleaning Nation, if you're in the Facebook group and you see Greg, give him a little love, give him a shout out. And again, I can't speak for everything he has ever said or will say, but 9 out of 10 times, I have a feeling Mr. Elderkin and I are going to line up in terms of how to grow a cleaning company. That said, I would love to take this opportunity to give something back to you, Greg. How can I help you with your business today?
All right, Mike. The one question among a million questions that I want to ask you is pre-framing the call from the customer when the customer calls and asks me to come out and do a bid walk with them.
Perfect. I love that question. And I mentioned to Greg before, I think we've touched on that in the show. I think I've been over it kind of in bits and pieces, but I don't know we've ever had that as a complete episode, as this is what we're going to jump into. And it's an important thing. So there's a couple things that Greg has already assumed in the question that I want to point out so we don't skip over. Not, because I don't want to say it's advanced, but just a lot of people miss some obvious things. First of all, Greg is understanding the need for a pre-frame. So many times we get especially as we're newer, we get they're calling me out for a bid. I'm going to go out for a bid and I'm excited. And that's it. Not, is this the right bid for me? Is this worth my time? Are we a good fit? So before you even go out, there needs to be that foundation of, just because someone invites you to bid on their job does not mean that you are required by law to go bid on that job. That's the big foundation that Greg is getting, that we don't want to skip over. The second piece is, if it is a good job, it's not a matter of just going out and it's good or not. The way that you set it up, and I like the words pre-frame that you use. Some people may not be familiar, but it makes sense when you say it. Pre-frame, the way you pre-frame the call has a lot to do with how the success of that call. So many people, A, just think they have to go out irrespective. That's your first mistake. And B, if they think, okay, this is a good job for me, I do want to go out, they think the only job of that call is to set an appointment, which is absolutely, you're missing a huge opportunity, and you're going to show up on site way behind the 8 ball. So that's the first thing I want to say. Anything to add before we move on, Greg?
Nope. You're on cue and I'm on cue, and let's go.
All right, we're vibing. Let's keep going, brother. So there's a couple things. The first thing you want to do is clarify, not just for your benefit, but for their benefit, what it is they want to accomplish and what it is you want to accomplish. So instead of trying to get out there, because I'll tell you the problem that we're solving, for those of you who haven't run into this yet, is so many times we go on site, commercial and residential. I'd like to think a little more so on the commercial, but either way, there's a lot of, okay, Greg, here's where we need, here's what we need to clean, give me a bid, I'll talk to you later, goodbye. Like, they just want to rush you through and do a lot of, like, just go measure and just produce a magic number. The problem with that is you don't have enough information to really produce a bid that's worthwhile. A, on the pricing side, because you don't know what they want. And B, the other key part of the bid is what you will and will not do, what is and is not included, what costs extra and for how much and how often. And the only way for you to know what that should be is to talk with them. So for me, a disqualifier is if they're not willing to have a conversation. If it's, if you want to do government, you're going to have to make an exception. But other than that, if they're not willing to have a conversation with me about their needs and their wants and their pain and why it is they called me, I am unwilling to go on a bid. So I don't have a cleaning company now, but when I did, I would do 0 bids that consisted of me going out there and them kind of giving me the bum's rush and just say, listen, here's the building. You got a measuring tape, email me your bid. That would, for me personally, and I'm not saying it should be for everybody, for me personally, that's a disqualifier. So the way you do that is to say, what is it you'd like to achieve when you come out? And you'll get an idea right then of like, listen, we just want the lowest price. I don't want a headache. Just come out. You can bid whenever. I don't even know if I'll be there. That's a good indicator that that's not a good bid to go on. Now, I'm not just going to tell them to pound sand right then. I'm going to give them an opportunity to kind of become a good bid. So if I say, well, what is it you'd like to accomplish? And he says, well, I just need a good bid. I'm not going to be there. You can come anytime 8 to 5. Email me your bid. I'm going to go, whoa. Gosh, Greg, I am so sorry. Can I just take a second and ask you a quick question? And if he says no or is rude or doesn't, then that's it. That's the end of the call. I'm going to say, hey, I don't think we're a good fit. Thanks for calling. Best of luck in your search. That's the end of my involvement with that guy. 9 times out of 10, he's going to go, if you slow him down, he's going to slow down with you. And a lot of that's how you say it. So if he is, hey, Mike, this is Greg. I need a bid, 8 to 5, just be cheap. Email to me. Okay. Thanks. Bye. That pacing, he's got his thing. The way they're going to slow that down is go, whoa, Greg, I got a question. See how my pacing is very different? You've got to demonstrate to him the way a conversation should happen. If when you do that, he's rude to you, done, move on, don't try and convince him. 9 times out of 10, he's going to go, oh gosh, sorry, I just got caught up. Sure, what's your question? Before I come out, what would you like to see? If only one thing happened, what's the big goal for you inviting me? And always say inviting me out, right? You're not saying that you're going to come bid or come do a job walk. They called you. They're inviting you out. Make sure you clarify that at every opportunity you get. Hey, Craig, before I accept your invitation for me to come out, what is it you want to make sure happens? And he'll probably say, oh, I need a bid. Okay. Well, what I'd like to see happen for me to give that bid is to have enough information to give you. And you see how I'm talking really slow? I'm pacing him. I'm slowing him down. What I need is to ask you some questions. Some will make sense and some might seem a little goofy. But I've been doing this a while, and I found I've got a certain set of questions, and if we can take 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever you think you need to get this done, I can give you a much better bid and give you information about what you should be looking for and really help solve your problem, not just give you a, quote unquote, a number that may or may not do what you want. Is that okay? Again, if you say something like that and they respond in the negative, it's not okay. You're in the wrong spot. And very rarely is someone going to do that. Now 9 times out of 10, they've slowed down. Yeah, that's okay. And then you go over the ground rules. So once you kind of got permission to ask some questions and you're explaining to them and teaching them that you don't just want a number, right? If you want a number, I'll do it for $100. And he's going to go, huh? You'll go, well, if I get to choose what it is I'm doing and I don't know anything about your pain, I can quote unquote clean your place for $100 a month. Let's make it $100 a year. I'll come out there with, put a toilet brush in your toilet for 30 seconds and call it clean. That's a good way to explain, like, well, I don't know what it is you want. So you want to make sure if they start kind of giving you, just clean the thing 5 times a week. Well, then if you just need a number, how about $200 or make an extremely low number? So they're like, huh? And you go, well, that's what you're going to get, right? If you just tell everybody that you're bidding with, I just need the lowest number and I'm not willing to tell you what my standards are, then you're going to get someone to do it for an extremely low price and you'll be having the same conversation with the same vendors 6 months from now. So that's kind of the thing that you want to start with. Once you've kind of got that trust and you've slowed them down and they're willing to talk with you, you want to set the ground rules. I do not go on appointments without ground rules. Ground rules for me would be time. If they're unwilling to be there, if they give me just show up whenever, or, I won't be there, or I'll be there 8 to 5, I need an appointment. So I need a commitment that Greg or whoever I'm talking with will be there from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. They will be uninterrupted, cell phones off, no interruptions. That doesn't always happen, but if I'm going to go out and accept their invitation to bid, then I need that to be at least agreed upon. So even if it doesn't happen, at least they need to say that that's going to happen. And then the phrasing I use that's been used, I think I've done this in a couple podcasts, but this is a writer downer. And I'll just role play it with you, Greg. So say you've called to invite me to bid, okay?
Okay.
All right. So Greg, if I get out there and after we've talked and I've asked you some questions, if I don't feel like we're the best vendor, would you be offended, or would it be okay if I just told you that?
No, that's what I expect.
Oh,
you to be straightforward with me.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I get embarrassed and it's uncomfortable having to say that. So when I have your permission, it makes me feel a lot better, and I think I'll be able to do a better job helping you with your problem, whether we're the solution or not. Now, that said, if we get out there and for whatever reason, my price, my car, my haircut, whatever reason, you don't think that we're a good fit, are you okay telling me as well?
Oh, yes.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. That way we can just get a lot more done in that we're being honest with each other and not trying to kind of beat around the bush. Now, if I get out there and I think we'd be able to do an amazing job for you, and you think we're going to be able to do a good job, what would you like to see happen next?
Well, I would like you to start walking around with me and finding out what my wants and needs are, and specific pains are, and try to go from there.
So let's say I've done that. Yeah, and that's I'm glad that you said that, Greg, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. So many people just quote unquote want a number, but they don't want to take the time to discuss what should be included in that number. So say we've taken the time, and I understand, because again, there's no way I could tell you whether I think would be a fit or not until I asked a bunch of these questions, and most likely you're not going to exclude me because of my haircut, but after we've spoken for a while. So after the appointment's over, I've walked through, I've given you a price, and I'm not able to disqualify. I wouldn't give you a price unless I thought we could do a good job for you, and you're not able to disqualify me. You think that we're a good fit. At that point, what would you like to see happen?
Well, I would like to start talking some numbers and see how soon I can get you in and get a time frame going so that I can plan ahead and tell my other cleaner that their services are no longer needed, and we can set the ball rolling with getting you in and starting your services. Okay, perfect. And then that'll allow me to go to an appointment kind of with the understanding of I've got to have some resources in terms of people and materials and things ready. So Greg was being a really kind customer. A lot of them aren't going to be so kind. But the good news is one of two things are going to happen when I set it up with getting permission to tell them that we're not a fit and giving them permission to tell me we're not a fit. If neither of those things happen, they only have one of two options. One is to say, well, I'd like to get started, or I'd like to make the transition. Great. It eliminates the I'll think it over, right? That's what we don't want, is to get out there, go through all this stuff. And like, okay, well, send me a bid and I'll let you know. And then all of a sudden you start calling and chasing, and they're running and hiding, and it's a big fat mess. That eliminates that. The second option is they're going to give you some sort of objection or hindrance to the deal that you want to know now, not then. It might be something like, well, Mike, I've got to talk to the board before I can make a decision. So that's what I'd like to see happen next, which allows me to go, oh, thank you so much for bringing that up, Greg. Now, I've done this enough times. I found that oftentimes when I come out and we spend time and we ask and answer questions, and you invest a half hour and I invest a half hour and I give you the bid and everything's great, when we take it to the board, we start all over. You'll probably recommend me to the board because you haven't disqualified me, and the board's going to have a lot of questions. And guess what? We do that whole appointment again, and it just wastes everybody's time. Most clients I found would rather just have me present at the board meeting so we can not have to do this thing twice. Does that make sense? And very rarely are they not going to want to have you do that, but at least you know, right? So if there's going to be an objection of, well, I can't make a decision then because of this, you'd much rather know that now, not later, and you can start planning for it. So do you see how just over the phone, everyone else is going to go out and they're going to, just show up between 8 and 5 and email a bid in to nobody, having no idea what their pain is. And you are going to get to spend a half hour of uninterrupted time. You're going to know exactly what their pain is, what their decision-making process, why they would or wouldn't buy from you. You've agreed that they're either going to tell you that it's not a fit, which is fine, or they're going to start working towards transitioning away from their other cleaner into you. You've really set yourself up for success as opposed to failure. Any questions on that or thoughts, Greg, before we move on to lightning round? Nope, let's do the lightning round.
Cool. One last thing. This is a little bonus, that the last piece of the pre-frame is when you show up to the appointment. The last thing you want to do is just start in, right? You always start the appointment where you ended the phone call. Hey, Greg, when we talked on the phone, we agreed that you'd have 30 minutes uninterrupted. I physically pull my phone out of my pocket and I turn it off and say, I turn my phone off anytime I'm in this appointment. Are we good? So I kind of make that physical thing so they get that I'm committed to them. Do you need to tell someone to hold the calls, or where are we at? So always start with that. We still got that half hour. It's still uninterrupted. Just to be clear, if I don't think we're a fit, you won't punch me in the face if I tell you that, right? Yep. Great. And if for whatever reason you don't think I'm a fit, you still have permission. We're still good, right? Yep. Okay. And then you start it, and I can ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that I either tell you we're not a fit, or if I make a proposal for us to help you, that proposal really hits exactly what you need. You're okay with me asking a bunch of questions. Are we still on for all that? That is the last start of the pre-frame, is actually at the appointment. When you remind them of all the kind of deals or agreements or ground rules that you've already set. Okay, that's enough of that. We're running way over because Greg got me all fired up. Let's hit the lightning round. 3 quick questions. I'm going to give Greg 3 amazing answers. Question number 1, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, Greg?
Failure is not a bad word so long as it is not the last word.
Ah, Greg is prepared. That sounded way too good to be off the top of the head. Failure is not a bad word as long as it's not the last word. Did I quote you right?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Well said, my friend. What's the biggest mistake you've made in the cleaning business that we can, aside from being on this podcast, perhaps, that we at Cleaning Nation can learn from?
Well, Mike, I've heard this said in a variety of different ways in the podcast, but I'm going to try to say it a little bit more unique. Trying to boil the ocean.
All right. What do you mean by that?
Trying to be everything to everybody. And that's the biggest problem, is that even for myself and what I see on the Facebook group and what I hear on the podcast is a lot of people are trying to be a lot of things to a lot of people. And when it really gets down to the basic fundamental elements of what you do, you're not really accomplishing or achieving anything except just chasing your tail around to try to please everybody. You want to try to zero in like a sniper and go 1 inch wide by a mile deep.
Preach
you really
it, my
want
friend Greg. Well said.
Really want to get that.
And we actually talked about that a little bit today, right? Just because someone calls in to do a bid, if you specialize or focus in commercial, you don't do residential. If you specialize in crime scene cleanup, you don't do not that. So we actually touched on that, and I love the way that you said it in terms of not trying to boil the ocean. Last question, Greg. What's one idea that Cleaning Nation can put into practice right away that'll improve their lives and or their business?
Well, if you are not a part of the Facebook group, not trying to bogart your spotlight here, Mike, but I really feel that people would be really it would just bring a lot of value to them if they got engaged on the Facebook group page, but also if you know of a group locally that you can network with, specifically cleaners, that you can maybe meet, once a week or whatever, and just talk about your problems and, get engaged, participate, don't just spectate.
Love it. Well said. And just for those of you Cleaning Nation that are just podcast or YouTube subscribers, the Facebook group, if you just go to Facebook and Google Grow My, or not Google, but within Facebook search Grow My Cleaning Company, we have a group at the time of this recording, 800-900 members. It's totally free, so we're not selling you anything. Nothing is allowed to be sold in there. So if you try and sell something, we'll throw you out. And if someone tries to sell something to you, let me know and we'll throw them out. It is not that kind of a group. It is totally free. It is only for owners of cleaning companies looking to grow. So as long as you're looking to give and grow your company and play nice with others, you are welcome in our group. It's totally free, and that's a great suggestion that they can do right now today before their head hits the pillow. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your passion, your desire to grow. I appreciate you. I know that Cleaning Nation appreciates you. When you want to check out Greg's show notes page, give him a shout out, say hello in the comments section. Basically everything you need to grow your cleaning company. It's all at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. Leave your questions, your comments, your rude remarks. I will see you there.
Congratulations! You are now 16% smarter. Still can't get enough cleaning goodness? Go to www.growmycleaningcompany.com for more of the good stuff. Ever want to be rich and famous? Owners of cleaning companies, as well as industry experts, can apply to be featured on the show by emailing our producer Natalie at support@growmycleaningcompany.com. Until then, don't miss out on all the latest cleaning industry lovin' at www.growmycleaningcompany.com. Check it out now.